All right. Putting these two to the test. All right, well, preface with I've already modded. I took out the handle buttons on this because they were terrible. Just truly awful. So I guess I'll start there. They bulge out on this one, and you can see that in the other video I have. On this one, they're flush. They're real nice. You did very well there. Good call. At least for that. That was good. Holding. This feels better. Nyxi feels better. It's a little bit bigger, and it feels just that little bit better. Now, buttons. L3, R3 are about the same. So the stick caps themselves, these are both concave. They're okay. I never really cared whether they're concave or not. But since authenticity is the goal here and replicating GameCube, it makes sense for this to be the circular target-ish stick cap, and for this to be a smaller nub type stick cap. The fact that they didn't do that with this means that Doyoky wins on the stick caps. So that's 1-1. These guys win the handle buttons, these guys win the stick caps. Now, buttons. Let's just go with face buttons first. In sound, not that big of a difference. In feel, Doyoky wins far and away. My gosh. The amount that Doyoky wins the face button contest, it almost ends the match right there. It is that much better. But D-pad. I don't know if you can hear, but where's the mic over here? I don't know if it comes off across in the recording, but Doyoky is much quieter. So at least as far as I'm concerned, Doyoky wins the D-pad. Now, triggers. I guess I'll pretend like I don't know who's going to win that. Oh, listen to this. I wonder. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Clicky. Yeah, great. Huh. I probably janked that up when I put it back together, because that was quiet when I first tried it. Or not. I don't know. Alright, maybe it was just these ones that were quiet. Pretty much quiet, anyway. Yeah, it's quiet compared to... Oh, I hate clicky. So Doyoky wins that. So... Alright, actually, no. This won the holding, too. Just the grip is better here. And I'll give them the middle piece. The middle piece color matches, and that's nice. They really should have made the middle piece a color match. But this middle piece charges them both. This middle piece doesn't. On that... No. I was trying to determine how similar in color they were. And to my eyes, it looks similar. But looking on the camera screen... Nah, not really. But if you have both, and you really just cannot stand that the middle piece is black over here, then you can go ahead and do this. But it doesn't actually lock in. But it does look decent. Yeah, it looks decent. See, like, again on camera, it shows more the difference. But to my eyes, it looked pretty similar. But, you know, humans, I say, yeah, I don't know. Plus, you can convince yourself of things that aren't true. So, Nyxi wins grip. Nyxi wins aesthetically the middle piece. And Nyxi wins the handle buttons. That's it. That's really it. Doyoky wins face buttons. They win the trigger. They win middle piece function. They win the analog sticks. So that's what, 3v2? Face buttons, sticks, triggers. Oh, D-pad. So 4 versus 2, right? 4 versus, well, I'll call it a tie because they win the middle piece charging. So middle piece is a tie because this one has charging, but that one looks better. So call that a tie. Face buttons, sticks, triggers, D-pad. That's 4. These guys have grip and the handle buttons. So yeah, 4 versus 2, in my opinion. Oh, and then there's the fact that these have lights. Thankfully, they are turn-offable, so there's that. But the fact that they were there at all was very showy and ridiculous. But whatever. So, you kind of need... Oh, actually. So, yeah, they win the grip, but more on that. The reason they win the grip, it lacks this. This lump in the back, which does nothing, which you can go see in the teardown for proof that it does nothing. It's just, I mean, look at that. That is, looks like double. And it's just, just terrible. Whereas this is nice and smooth and contourish and ergonomical. It feels really good. Like it's a little bit wider, and I love that it's a little bit wider than the WaveBird. I have always disliked how small GameCube controllers were. I mean, my ideal would actually be there's a controller called ProCube. Came out for the Wii U. It's a GameCube controller, but it acts as a Wii U Pro controller. Love that. Love that controller. It's proper GameCube. Looks small, C-stick. It's like third party, probably 3D scanned. It's a perfect imitation just about this C-stick. Face buttons are great. Triggers are like Doyoky's. It's beautiful. I love it. That as a Joy-Con pair would be perfect. I would buy that and then never use either of these, quite honestly, because on that, the handle was designed for grown adult hands, whereas this, they kind of stuck with the kiddish design. And yeah, it's nostalgic, but because they got it wrong on both counts, it's like, yeah, you should have just went for modern then. Because for most people, when they want a GameCube controller, they really just care about this. It's this. They want the ABXY. That is very important. Small C-stick, very important. I mean, that's pretty much it. There are people who care about the D-pad, but it's not that many people. And since this was like all targeted for Smashers, you don't really use the D-pad in Smash, so I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I say if you want something a little bit bigger than a WaveBird, go Nyxi. If you want something that is more authentically GameCube, it's gotta be Doyoky. They got the feel right. The transition between Y and A is almost perfect. Whereas here, Y is lower, or like perfectly on level with Y. Y and A are like perfectly on level with each other. Here, they made sure to make the Y a little bit higher, the way that it is on the WaveBird, the GameCube controller. The AB, XA transition, it's all more similar to OEM GameCube on Doyoky. I don't know how they messed up the face button so badly on Nyxi, but they did. And yeah, for authenticity, you have to go with Doyoky. I'm not a fan of the analog modules that they used on Doyoky, but you could replace the modules themselves with higher end modules, which is a really, 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 really simple thing to do. It's like crazy simple. You can't get it wrong. It is very simple. I didn't like the way these analog sticks performed in the calibration settings, and it did stick when you take it apart and you futz with it. You can get the analog stick to like get stuck for a moment before it springs back to center. But in gameplay, I noticed no issues. You know, walking straight into a wall, it didn't like do anything weird. It didn't like randomly go a different direction. It was straight as far as the game was recognizing. It's just that in the very, very sensitive calibration settings, you could tell that it was slightly off. Straight up, straight down, straight right, straight left. So yeah, which one you should get really kind of depends on what you want. Like I said, if authenticity is your goal, this is the closest one. It's not perfect. It just is not. It's a shame that they did these lumpy trigger handle buttons and this weird lump here that does nothing. But otherwise, it feels pretty good. This smaller C-Stick, I actually like it. I like it a lot. It's not the perfect feel that the C-Stick, the OEM C-Stick is to me, but I don't know, I got used to it. I like it. This C-Stick is horrendous and is very easy. It's very easy to mod a GameCube C-Stick to fit on there. It would also be easy to mod the OEM stick caps to fit on here. You just have to get a little X-Acto knife and cut the notch in the bottom of the stick cap to fit on these. And they should be the same. Like if you cut it to fit on this, it should also fit on that, because these are like the regular. Yeah, I don't know what that shape is called, but it doesn't have a notch like the GameCube does. So if you use the GameCube stick caps, you need to cut them to fit on here. In my opinion, Doyoky. I mean, face button feel is, I'm gonna say like 80% right. It is very close. And for me, where I'm going from Y to A lot in Smash anyway, and it is almost perfect, that is like closer than 80% perfect. Overall, the face button is about 80%, but Y to A specifically, for me, I'd say like 90% similar. It is so close, and I was so stoked about that. I am so stoked about that. I still am. Like I that was certainly docked. Handheld mode. I will not be able to play really any GameCube game without these. Zelda, freaking Tears of the Kingdom. Oh heck yeah, man! I played Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, both GameCube. I did play years ago Ocarina of Time with an N64 controller. I hated it. Replayed it with a GameCube controller. Great experience. Zelda just works on this. What is it? B is sword, A is action button, and then Y and X get assigned to an item. Z2, I think. And then target, right? L is target, and then R is shield. And I suppose now ZL would be, I don't know. I always made Z be grappling hook though. Doyoky buttons are better. Doyoky sticks are better. Doyoky triggers are better. Nyxi grip is better. Nyxi center thing looks better. Nyxi handle buttons are better. Doyoky center thing charges. Doyoky's more authentic. Nyxi feels a little better because it does not have that god-awful lump right there. Yeah. And even with that lump, I still say Doyoky wins. Yeah, I had said Doyoky was a 6.5. Might have to up that to a 7 out of 10. And Nyxi at a 6 out of 10. Because it's certainly better than half. It's more than halfway there. Nyxi, as far as authenticity and feel, honestly, gets like a 4 out of 10. They really do. Doyoky, I'm going to stick with 6.5, yeah. Because, like, you know, this doesn't have the correct size C-stick. This is horrible. The triggers on Nyxi are trash as far as authenticity. And then Doyoky has that horrible lump on the back and the awful handle button. And the triggers, while comfortable, I like them, are not proper. And even if everything else was right, not having decent, like, travel distance on LNR would just, I mean, it brings down 2 points right off the bat. Everything else was right, but that wasn't, at least for authenticity. For me, it would get a 10 from me, but I'm just judging based off of authenticity. So yeah, I'd say 4 on that, because that's wrong. Technically, that cap is wrong. This is wrong. The triggers are wrong. There shouldn't be a handle button. Really, the only thing that Nyxi got right was the feel. And even then, it's a little bit bigger, and some people don't like that, which I think is silly. I mean, unless your hands got smaller since you used the GameCube, I can't imagine why that would be a problem. Whereas with this, it feels smaller because of these lumps. Those lumps, it's awful. But golly, it is so much lighter than Doyoky. I mean, if you go look at the teardowns, you can see the difference in the batteries, and that's a big part of it. And, yeah. Whereas Doyoky got face button right, stick caps are pretty much right, and, I mean, there's these are, oh, so good. There's these are perfect. LNR is not GameCube LNR, but it's fine for Switch. So yeah, I'm gonna say 4 out of 10 on Nyxi as far as a WaveBird imitation, and 6.5 out of 10 for Doyoky as far as being a WaveBird imitation. Okay, so I've logged 50 hours at least in Zelda, played entirely with either these or these. And I think that gives me a pretty decent basis for judging. Yeah, I ended up with the using the Doyoky most. Yes, this handle, this grip is better. There's no stupid lump like there is on these. But those absolutely trash sounding clicky triggers, I can't tolerate it. I can't. Like, you know, when I first tried them on Smash a little bit, I think I was just so enthused with using GameCube controls in console mode that I just didn't really care that much. But now, after having 50 hours, I'd say at least 10 were played on this. Maybe 15, but I mean, I was actively switching. You know, I first started with these, I went to those for a few hours, because when I played with these, this grip, holding it got really awkward. Like, it sits wrong. Your grip is just wrong in it, and it was just an awful shame that they didn't do it well. That's my biggest gripe. As you can see, I'm playing without the back buttons in, because unlike this one where they're not really flush, but they're closer to the shell. With this one, they jutted out like a significant amount. So then not only was so like that space where my fingers kind of sort of go in, they couldn't because the button was there. And so like my fingers were chilling there and they were like on this stupid lump, and it was awful. It was absolutely awful. I couldn't play like that. So I just omitted them, and I never use them. I don't like them. Oh! So I forgot about that. On this one, these are not mapped. I don't have a map. I've never mapped these back buttons, these whatever, handle buttons, because I think handle buttons are stupid, and so why would I map them? But if I hit them, my character will do stuff. Sometimes it'll act like I'm hitting A. Sometimes it'll input the left joystick. It has not so far randomly inputted the right joysticks, the C stick, but that's not good. That's extremely poor quality assurance. I looked and saw and checked for firmware updates. I didn't see any. I wrote them and have not heard back because why would they get back to me? That's another thing I'll give to Doyoky. They get back to me every time. Nyxi, maybe one time. Yeah, this one has software issues. Major software issues. If you're like, especially like if you're trying to play real Smash on this, no, you can't. You can't. It's trash for that. It's a nice little nostalgic thing. I think I'm glad I have it. I guess I'm glad that I supported them creating this. I hope that they revise it and make it not suck. These triggers have got to go. Well, the buttons under there. I ordered silent ones or quiet ones to replace them with, but they never arrived. But yeah, put in nice, as quiet as they can. Calic, I think they were called, right? I would say go mechanical for these. Clearly, no one can get the membrane situation correct, even though you'd think that would be the simplest thing in the world. So, just go mechanical. Quiet mechanical. Not loud mechanical. I have not experienced any software issues with Doyoky. Nyxi, loads of software issues, like the inputs when I'm not hitting anything, not moving the joystick. That's not good. That is terrible quality assurance. I genuinely do not recommend that you go with Nyxi. They did a bad job. They really did. Mainly for me, it's the software issues. It's like you can't have a controller randomly sending inputs. It's unacceptable. Everything else, the issues, the stupid clicky triggers, the back button, handle buttons that I think are stupid, you can get past that. I also couldn't really get past the giant C-stick or the unideal face buttons. Very unideal face buttons. I mean, it's just the difference. Like you can see the Y is above the A, and then on the Nyxi right there in the back, the Y's like, pretty sure it's below, right? If I recall correctly. Yeah, it's like the concavedness there, it's like below where the A is. They did mess up right there. The handles are better. That's the only thing that I can tell you for sure is better with Nyxi. The handles are better. Everything else is equivalent or worse. And the software issues make it such that even if it were overall better, it would still be worse. Because it's like you can't have random inputs. No issues with these. Turbo on both seems fine. I don't know. I don't really know. I guess it depends what you're trying to use it for. I remapped things because B is meant to be your slash weapon. B is weapon, X is running, Y is jump. Yeah, there we go. Which is why I'm hitting different buttons than I'm supposed to. Those are the only things I remapped. A is still A. Turbo. Hit turbo once, and then if you hold it, it'll do it. And then if you hit it again, should be automatically, yeah, there. See, it's pretty fast too. If you hit it once, then you have to hold down on A, or whichever button you're turboing, to make it turbo. If you hit it twice, then it'll do it on its own. If you do it twice, there's no way to stop it from turboing. On some things, if you do it to auto turbo, where it's just turboing without hitting it, if you then hold on the button, it'll stop turboing. But on this one, it just permanently turbos, which I find annoying. I found it useful when picking up things rather than me, hey. It's just like, all right, A, turbo, turbo. Now it'll just pick everything up, and then when I'm done, A, turbo to stop picking everything up. Now on this one, I don't even know. I didn't ever use turbo on this one. I don't think so. I don't even know. All right. See, on this one, if you hold down on A, it'll... Yeah, what happened? Oh, that's weird. Okay, so... holding on to it. Alright, see, like, I did not hit ZR just there. I don't know why it is processing ZR. I did not hit ZR at all. I definitely didn't hit R. Yeah, software issues, input issues. On this one, there's turbo, where you hold it down and it'll turbo. Then there's auto turbo, which is where it'll do it all on its own. And then in that mode, if you hold down on A, it'll stop it, but then it'll activate it again if you hit A again. Yeah, there we go. And that's an alright way to handle turbo. It's okay. It's neat because it pauses it rather than as soon as you let go, it goes back to being auto turbo. It pauses auto turbo, and then you just resume auto turbo by hitting it again, which is a pretty good idea. So that's cool. It's weird that they did that correctly, but then, like, as you just saw, it has random inputs for no reason. If what you want is console play for GameCube controller, it's gotta be Doyoky. I haven't yet, but I encourage you to just shave that off. Like, there's no reason to have that there. You can literally just go and take it away, have that exposed. It wouldn't hurt anything. This doesn't do anything. There's nothing there, as is shown in the teardown. So, oh yeah, and I have no idea where my kickstand went. Like, one day I was feeling like the back of the console, and I was like, what? Why is there a... And I looked, and I'm like, oh, alright, well, I guess I never use it anyway, so I don't care. Anyway, you get rid of that really easily, and then you could, if you so chose, melt plastic into it, repair it, and just tape over it. Both, literally tape would be better than that lump. I did not find these holes annoying enough to bother taping or melting plastic into or anything, so I'm leaving them be. Also, I actually want those open in case I ever, like, sell them or whatever, which I highly doubt I will. But in case I did, I want to be able to sell it as it was made, not as I prefer it to be. Anyway, it'd be pretty easy to DIY those gone, and maybe that doesn't even bother you. Maybe your hands are a little bit smaller than mine, or maybe it just doesn't bother you for some other reason. But that's my only major gripe with the Doyoky. Those back lumps are terrible. I guess the second highest one would be the handle buttons, but those didn't bother me that much because they were easy to remove, which I encourage you to do. You could mod those to be more flush with the shell, which wouldn't be hard, but I don't like handle buttons, so I'm not going to do that. Doyoky wins. If you're considering which one to get, definitely Doyoky for console play. Now, if what you want is a controller to play like it's a WaveBird, if you insist on it not being a GameCube and not using the GameCube adapter and just using WaveBird like that. If you insist on that, then neither of these. Don't get either of these. get the PowerA GameCube Pro controller. That's the closest thing. And it's not perfect, but it's the closest thing. But if what you want is wireless GameCube controller play on the Nintendo Switch, dude, you have to get the GameCube adapter, get a WaveBird, get the WaveBird receiver, and play with a WaveBird. It's your only option. There's nothing else that compares. There's nothing else that compares. This is fine. It's fine for what it is. For console play, this is great. That's why I got it. I have no desire to try to play it with it in like WaveBird mode like that. I'll just play with my WaveBird if that's what I want to do. If you want to have a wireless GameCube experience, PowerA GameCube Pro controller, or ideally go with the GameCube port adapter, USB, and WaveBird. But if what you want is console play with GameCube, Doyoky. Definitely Doyoky. There's no random inputs. The back buttons are easy to remove. If you really want to get rid of that back lump, that's easy to do. It has a nice normal size. Actually, it's a little smaller than regular C-Stick, but it's smaller, which is better. Trashy giant C-Stick. I have had zero issues with these joysticks. They're fine. In the teardown, they did stick, but they don't in use. So I'm not worried about it. They're fine. Whereas this one randomly sends my character walking off. All you have to do is move it, and then it'll go back. You'll be in control again. But as soon as you let go, it's running off on its own again until it finishes whatever demonic possession thing it's going through. Maybe it's sorting out its issues. Maybe it's going through a tough time. Maybe I'm just being too hard on it. Maybe there's a little sentient AI inside of here. Yeah. I'm sorry, friend. No, I think they're really neat. Like, I like the Nyxi visually enough. The color is good. The color is pretty similar on them. Different, but similar. It's just not good as a controller. Because it has random inputs. So anything good about it is void. It's like, oh, it's such a sweet car, but, it randomly switches into reverse and, it's not the greatest thing in the world. Oh, well, then I definitely don't want it. And that's how it is with this. If you want it to collect it, sure, yeah, it's fine. But if you're trying to actually play, Doyoky. Which again, same with this though. I like how I hope they revise the Nyxi. I hope they revise Doyoky because they do need to, or they should improve the face buttons. It's very close, but it needs improvement. And they should give you, honestly, I say keep these as well, but get a normal size C-Stick as well. C-Stick cap, because that's cool. Also, make this easier to come off, because it took me like a long time to get it off, and I never want to do it again. This one, but when you can actually grip it, it comes off really, really easily. Too easily, actually, because I lost this for like days. And I was playing with the yellow one on there, and it was fine. It just looked weird. Yeah. So for the fourth time. Conclusion, if you're trying to play wireless, just PowerA or WaveBird. Don't get Doyoky or Nyxi to try. I mean, I encourage you to not get Nyxi at all because of its software issues. It's too much. You can't overlook it. And other people have been having that issue too. It makes it unplayable. I can't deal with that. I'm still glad I bought it. I'm glad I supported GameCube JoyCons. It's a solid idea. Terrible execution. Awful execution. There's so much that they need to change about this. Trigger, C-stick, face buttons, and the back buttons randomly inputting. And I'm not even sure if I don't think I hit the back buttons, the handle buttons, when it was randomly inputting earlier on the testing. Don't get Nyxi. If you're trying to play console, Doyoky. Doyoky. And you can play it docked or whatever, but it's not the same, man. Like, part of why it works like this, being a little bit off, is that, well, it's off anyway. Like, it's already not feeling like a true GameCube controller because you're holding it like that. It's wide, and yeah, so it's not as big a deal. But when you're holding it like that, like a GameCube controller, and it's anything is off about it, it's weird. Oh yeah, that was the weird thing. They used quieter triggers on the back buttons than they did on the triggers. And these are quieter. D-pad's quieter. Obviously this is membrane, so that's quieter. Like, I don't know. Whoa, what's happening? Oh no. Okay, we're just gonna, oh gosh, okay, whoa, okay. Whoa, bro. Whoa. Doyoky good, Nyxi bad. I mean, I've logged 50 hours, so I'd say 10 or 15 with the Nyxi gives me, which warrants my opinion, I think. I think it validates my opinion. You use something for 15 hours, I think you can pretty much ascertain the quality of a controller. This one I've used for significantly longer. If I did 15 with that, then I did like 35 with this. One more thing that I forgot to mention before. The face button lights, they would blink randomly, really fast, really dimly. And it's not doing it right now, but it was doing it when I was playing with it. And in daylight, you didn't really notice. But when it was nighttime and it started doing it, it was like stroby. If it were bright, it would have been brutal, but it was dim, and that was the first issue I noticed, and then all the other issues became apparent. So yeah. Bad.